Hello, good morning, Marian.
Good morning.
How are you keeping on?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, good, great. Yeah, right. How is your studies getting on?
Oh, Kuma, it's very hard. No, it's so busy at work and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
finding the time to actually sit down and study is becoming it's a bit hard.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it's very tough. But anyway, put a try. Still there a lot of
Mm,
time because actually it's the last 2 weeks you must pick up. So
mm,
this is your learning process. You are learning a lot of things these days. Keep it up.
yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
last 2 weeks, last 10 days, put that best
Mm,
try and that should be all
yeah.
right.
Yeah, actually I'll book time off work. Otherwise it's to do this because
Pardon?
I said I'll book some time off work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So just keep on going because
Mm,
this case study. It's not too much. Don't take it as too much of a stress. You don't need to
mm,
study too much. It's all what you have
mm,
already studied. It's the
yeah.
application that matters here.
Mm,
So
yes.
yeah. So what I want to look at today is also a few things which I want you to note down. One is
Okay.
always you remember that I told you that we get 25% marks for technical skills, and therefore
Yes.
every time when you see a mark, you must be able to relate it to some particular model.
Model.
So
Yeah.
few models: SWOT, the PESTEL, the Mendelow's matrix, the Porter's
Mm,
five forces. Now I see you can easily apply the Porter's five forces because this is an
mm,
industry consultancy, very easy
yeah.
entry and very
Mm,
easy exit. No such big
yeah.
capital investment. Uh,
Yeah.
Few people can get together, form up a kind of a consultancy institution, and they can do it.
Yeah.
Just like this tuition, so many people have started this business of tuition because it's very
Mm,
easy. You need a laptop, you need
mm,
few things, and as good people, you can do it.
yeah.
So Porter's five forces is applicable. Already they are given the
Yeah.
SWOT in the pre-scene. You can take
Yeah.
lot of things from that pre-scene SWOT. You probably
Yeah.
can do even a PESTEL.
Mm,
Because this is all to do with the protest and all that from the environmentalists. So before you
yeah.
undertake a project, you might want to do a PESTEL. Then whenever evaluation comes, you can talk about the suitability, acceptability, feasibility model.
Mm,
Whenever you think of diversification, you can talk about the Ansoff matrix.
okay.
Yeah, new products, new markets, existing products, existing markets, all that kind of a thing.
Mm,
If there is any foreign exchange coming up, maybe we can talk about the interest rate parity theory, purchasing power parity
mm,
theory. If there is
yeah.
any evaluations, net present values, internal rate of returns, even talking
Mm,
about business valuations, the share valuations, the Modigliani
yeah.
and Miller models, you can just refer those things. That is where you get your
Mm,
25% marks. And one of the
okay.
most important models, at least in the paper, you must try and use it 2 or 3 times is the SIMA code of ethics.
Okay.
Because always you will have some ethical issue. Even if you don't
Mm,
have ethical, you will definitely have some ethical issue. But if the
yeah.
examiner says, say your finance director says, Marian, I want all this information very confidentially, you can straight away
Mm,
write to her and say, I will maintain confidentiality because I am bound by
yeah.
SIMA code of ethics.
Okay.
So that kind of a thing immediately will make your case very, very strong,
Mm,
and that you will carry the marks. Then the next
mm,
25% marks is on the leadership skills. In
yeah.
strategic case study, whether the case asks or not, you must make a firm recommendation.
Mm,
Now, most of the time, they might not ask a recommendation. They might ask your views, suggestions, something. But after discussing all the options available, at the end of the day, this is the TOPSIMA model, you must make a firm recommendation. In the managerial case study, you don't need to because you are a management accountant. You are supposed to give information for the others to make a decision. Here, you are basically a part of your decision-making unit. So because of that, you must make some recommendation. If it's a merger, you must say whether it is all right to merge or not to merge. If it's a new project, whether it is all right to take it or not to take it, you must, I can remember sometime back the examiner said that, accountants have so many hands because sometimes we say, I recommend this, but on the other hand something and on the other hand. That's not good. That's not good. Right? You must be very firm. Your idea may not be acceptable to the board. That's a different story. But if you are convinced this merger is not good, you must say it is not good, I don't recommend it. And you must always, your recommendation must be justified. Why you say so. So you may want to say, according to the Johnston Scholes model, it is not in line with our strategic fit. Something like that. Right? Or according to suitable textual unit, it's a minus NPV project. Something like that. Or according to suitable textual feasibility, we don't have enough expertise. Whatever that, why we say it is not a project to go ahead, or why it should be gone through. And then any recommendation also should be justified, and also you should give certain course of actions, the main actions to be done. Say if it's a new project, you might want to tell Fiona should negotiate with the bank about the banking facility. That kind of thinking. Board approval must be obtained. Right? And if there is something to go with the environmental thing, get the environmental authority clearing. Right? Maybe if it's something very, very kind of very sensitive, you may want to go to some international reputed environmental these impact associations and get them to do an independent report. So that kind of a list of actions, maybe 4 or 5, should be always put up. That is where you will get that 25% marks on the leadership skills. So remember, every time whenever you have something to end up with a recommendation, justification and actions. This is the old TOPSIMA model, which they use it even here. Right? So basically, then of course on the people skills, it's all about the communication, how you present your things, all that kind of a thing. So you must always, as I say, you must show your emotional feelings. Remember, you're working in that company. Anything good, you must feel happy. Anything bad, you must feel sad. And always you must be very positive to tell your bosses, I'm prepared to give all the support. Sometimes, what you say may not be the thing what is going to happen. But still for all, if they have decided, you will say, yes, even though it's not my way, but I will support it. That is what the business will accept from you, right? Will expect from you. Then coming back to the business skills, always whatever your suggestions, recommendations should be commercially sensible. Now you must also remember your section 1, section 2, section 3. In most of the case, in the strategic case study, they are interrelated. From first section, you will come to the second section, and from second to the third. So if you have said in the first one that you are recommending something, for example, a merger, in the second section, you should not contradict it. Because it's not another new exam you are doing, right? It's the same company, same sequence. So you must never contradict what you said. Unless you see something very drastic happening in the second section, which we,
Yeah.
in that case, there may be a justification for you to say, I will go back on my decision and to do it.
Yeah.
But remember that already what you have written in the first section matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I say always it's not an exam. It's like in the office, something you are told, you can't go and say no, I never told, or completely forget it and give a new solution.
Mm.
So that's a second thing that I want you to know. Third thing, I want you to look at the case study. Look at the organizational structure they are having.
Yeah.
You can see this organization structure. This is what ideally we
The
call
matrix.
a matrix structure, right? So you
Yeah.
can see in the matrix structure what happens. The account manager becomes the kind of the key person to the customer.
Yeah.
It's a one-stop shop. If you are the customer, you don't need to go to the legal section. You don't need to go to the public relations. You don't need to the engineering. Neither you have to speak finance. You only have to speak Kumar. And Kumar will arrange everything for you from the engineering, legal, public, all that. So it's an ideal structure for a project-oriented organization like AEN. It's the ideal structure because customer service matters a lot, and customer is cared by this account manager. And you can see in this organization structure, the account manager reports, or the account managers report to the chief executive directly.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can see inside the organization there can be some confusion, some complexity.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm the account manager, I'm reporting to Luke, but I will take the resources from Seth, I will take the people from Peter, I will take people from Joshua, and I'm reporting to Luke. And also, my interest is my client sometimes. Much more than the organization, I think of my client all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will, I give priority to my client, and there will be another account manager wanting to give priority to his client, and sometimes the office resources are not best utilized in this kind of a scenario. So that is something I want you to note down, because there can be few questions on this matrix structure. Think saying whether we should change the structure. I don't think we should change the structure. We should but be aware of the pitfalls and the traps of this structure, and to ensure that we don't get into that kind of a thing. Yeah. So good communication between the 6 directors plus the chief executive is very important. Good coordination, so that at the top level they maintain that unity, one unitary board, because otherwise what happens is it will spread down the disease to the lower levels. If Sat and Luke are not getting together, Sat staff will be trying to exploit that kind of a situation. They might try to work with account manager, they might try to work with Sat, and there can be a organization suffering through that kind of. So that's something which I want you to note down on this structure, and probably there will be a couple of questions. And I think we discussed last time, Isabella does not seem to be having any staff here at that level, right? So it's something that you may have to think of a second line succession plan, because Isabella is the key person, founder director, who is working with the university, where we are spending a lot of money on research, where we have a big strength, but not having a kind of a second one in the board, in the organization creates some kind of a vacuum.
Yes.
And also in the matrix structure, one thing what we can see is that you might have, as I said, lot of confusion and tension. Now, for example, you are working for Fiona. Fiona might come and say, Marian, I want this information within next 45 minutes. In the meantime, your account manager also comes and says, hey, within 45 minutes, I want the invoice done or whatever by my client. Now, problem for you is whether you should go to Fiona, whether you should take Fiona's instructions or whether you take account manager's instruction. Because remember, ultimately the account manager reports to our loop.
Yes.
So later on, the loop might say, look here, you know, you didn't do that one, and because of that something happened. So because of these things, you have to be very, very careful looking at all the time on this part of the job. Okay, so this is something which I want you to note down. Then the other one I want to come out is on the pre-scene.
Yeah.
I want to look at very carefully few items. Okay, because you know, sometimes what happens is most of the time we go by the pre-scene from what we see, and we have already set our mind on certain things, but on the exam day, examiner might give you
something changes.
Few shocks and few changes. We are not ready. Looking at the pre-scene, I can see some shocks and some changes. So I have basically looked at some of the figures. One thing I want to look at is the cost of sales.
Okay.
Right? The revenue has gone up from 258 to 281. Cost of sales have come down, 108 to 104. So I'm sure normally you will say this is a good thing. Cost coming down, margins going up is a good thing. But in this case, it may not be a good thing. It is good in a manufacturing organization. We are buying materials, all that. You can, if your economies of scale works out and all that, it's a good thing. But here, what is your cost of sales? Your cost of sales is to pay the salaries you pay to your consultants.
Right.
Basically, you are doing, because you are not doing buying anything and selling anything. So you are basically looking all the time on your revenues, that is consultants assignments. Who is doing your consultants assignments? It is basically our staff. Qualified people. And if you look at that company structure, the company pre-scene, they say, basically they say they want to care the people. They want to pay the high salaries, all that. High salaries, all that, because they want truly enough, because they must retain the people, they must attract people, they must motivate people, all that. And one of the risks also they have mentioned that for individuals, we also depend heavily upon skills of engineers to maintain them. So if the engineers start leaving, if the engineers are not so happy with the company, there can be issues as far as your company is concerned. Right? So if you look at further down, further up, I saw it prides itself on being excellent employer, offering excellent working conditions for all staff. Employees are well paid, partly because it needs to reduce the risk of losing staff to rival alternatives. So remember, one of the threats is the significant competition. That situation, you must retain your staff. So cost of sales coming down here, when the revenue has gone up, indicates some people may have left your company. Which is little bit worrying. Little bit worrying, because immediately it may not have impact on your revenue, because it's not like something that you are buying today and selling tomorrow. The contracts are signed, but if people leave, say now I do a lot of work still with our old INSAF. So if we decide to leave, if the lecturers decide to leave, immediately they might not have a drop in the sales, because some people have already bought the 20 hours, 40 hours, all that. Somehow they will do it. But next time when it comes, they will not go, because Kumar is not there, so and so is not there, they will not go. So immediately you will have a cost saving, But in the long term,
Yeah.
in the strategy, you might find your revenue dropping.
Dropping. Mm.
So this is something which I want you to note down. Normally, cost coming down is a good thing in any business, but not in consultancy business, because consultancy business, now here you can see no inventory, right? So they are
That's
not
right.
buying anything. They are not buying and putting anything. They are not putting up any value addition. They merely do the
No.
consultancy. So in the consultancy, the cost of sales is the consultant's remuneration. That is coming down, because in a company where they say they are paying very well and all that, that means the numbers may be getting reduced.
Yes.
So we are not given any numbers. So this is something which I want to be cautious. I think there will be few questions in this area.
Okay.
I will justify that one to you when I come down. The examiner has given you the next 3 months accounts also. For the first time I see the examiner giving you the management accounts for the next 3 months. And if you look at the next 3 months, look at the operating expenses, the salaries of the engineering department.
Yes, it's falling, isn't it?
Falling, isn't it? It's falling sharply.
Yeah.
3.2 to 2.2 to 1.5, it is falling sharply.
Yeah.
Right? So I can visualize something like some of these engineers leave in this company. And this is very natural in a consultancy firm. Because the Porter's, as per Porter's 5 Forces, the entry barriers are very nothing. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
3 people, 4 people can get together, form up a new company. Right? Form up a new company, and they can just go to the other side and work. And you can see even the revenue has come down in June, but you may see revenue dropping later, not today. And if you see the revenue for the first 3 months, 68, say if you take it as average, 68 multiplied by 4, it is 272, right? 272 compared to last year 281.
Right.
So you can see even now there is a little bit of a tendency for your revenue to drop compared to the last year.
Yes.
So you can see some problems developing. So I want you to be ready for this kind of a thing. Because, when we don't see these things in that perspective, suddenly when they give a kind of a unseen, you might not be ready for it. So it's good for us to be ready. Remember, engineering coming down. Public relations, you can see almost it is there.
Yes.
Legal, if you look at, it is almost
it's falling there. Very
legal, it is there. Correct?
Yeah.
Slightly there's going to be even increase in the salary, which is not a bad thing. Because you can see public relations and legal salaries are slightly increasing, but engineering coming down.
Down, yes.
If you look at the revenue, you can see engineering was down, gone up, and coming down, right? It's kind of a thing. Public relations almost very consistent revenue, very consistent expenses. Legal, again you can see it's coming down.
Yes.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe some of the people in the engineering have left, formed up a company, and maybe they have not taken our legal people, not Peter's people, and they have formed up a company and they are doing legal also, and that is why our legal is dropping.
Yes.
Maybe we have our people, they have not touched our people, but our legal income is dropping. Isn't it?
Yes.
Somewhat worrying situation. So I want you to note down few of these things. So it may point out to a question of some people forming up another company, taking over some part of the business and going, and joining another legal partner, and something like that. In that scenario, what we should do, that kind of thing, how to main, because we are the number one leading consultancy company. Because I have seen in my own personal experience, I've seen many of these things happening. Suddenly, few people get together, they form up a new company secretly, and slowly they will pull your business. Immediately you will not feel the pulling of business, but it will happen over a period. But your salary is going down is a good indicator that something is going wrong in your company. Now the next shock which I want to look at, I want to show you, look at other operating expenses. Right? 1.4, 1.3, 1.7. So that means the scale of operations have not come down. Operating scale of operations have not come down because your operating expenses are remaining somewhat there. Right? It is in fact increasing, which is all right. Right? With increased business, it should always increase. But what you can see, the engineering salary is coming down. There is something happening in the engineering division. And I'm thinking it may be Luke, who was the man who was looking after the engineering all this time, is now the CEO.
Now the CEO,
And a new person has taken over. There may be few problems with the new person. Maybe he was one of your colleagues who was there promoted and the others are not cooperating. That kind of issue can arise. Or maybe sometimes it may be something like this. Account managers are now reporting to Luke. The engineering, because the account managers are reporting to Luke, and therefore the people who are working under that the direct engineering may be not having so much of support from the direct engineering, and they may be there may be some organizational issues arising. So be aware of all those things, because this 3 months information is given without a balance sheet for some particular reason. I want you to look at that one very carefully. Look at the travel and accommodation expenses. Again, you can see it's coming down. So most of the travel and accommodation is for the engineering staff, because the legal and the public relations, most of the things they will do it from the office. But engineering staff are the people who will be at the sites and the projects and all that. So that coming down also shows that the engineering activity is under some cloud. Right? So it's good for us to be awake for this kind of a thing. So if this question, if something arises in this area, I'm sure we are better equipped to answer. Now I want to look at another very thing. I think we discussed this one, I can't remember. But look at this software. Right? Last year we had 16.2. This year, 31st March 2016, 18.9 million. Now see the next 3 months what has happened. Software amortization 14.9. Almost a 5 million for a month. How come this can happen? We have only 18 million software at the end of the March. At the end of March. So how come that software 5 million a month on average, it is getting amortized? What do you think? Very interesting. What do you think? Because if it was only 18 million, it can't be just going off on 3 months' time. Is it? So 5 million amortization. What is amortization? It's the intangible asset. The consumption, you have to take it to the economic life period of the asset.
It's like depreciation.
It's like depreciation for the tangible assets. For the intangible assets, we call it amortization. Right? So when you look at from that angle, what you can see is from the month of April, we are having a 5 million. And in our balance sheet, intangibles are a non-current asset. Non-current asset means something which is going to be there for more than 1 year. Understand? Right? So I'm assuming
Yeah.
the software is at least 2 years, minimum 2 years. Because if it is less than 1 year, they will write it off, they will not capitalize it. When it is non-current asset, that means it has a life period at least more than 1 year. So maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years. Now I'm thinking from that angle. Software amortization of 5 million for a month means if it is 2 years, that means we have 120 million new software that we would have bought in month of April.
Yes.
After April, after March, we would have invested 120 million on new software, right? New software, and that is getting depreciated over a period of 24 months.
Yeah.
You get my point? Because it is non-current assets. So it has to be, because if they call it amortization, it has to be only the comparable word is depreciation. It is something which you are going to write off over the life period of the asset. So what I'm trying to say is that it can't be that 18 million that is being written off over a period of 3 months, because that can't be the life period of the asset. It can't get depreciated so fast. So it may be they have bought some new software and that is getting depreciated over this period. And if that is the case, the shock for you and me, we think that this company is 11% geared and that we have enough room for funding at the moment, 31st March balance sheet. But imagine if the company has gone for 120 million software upgrade, or if they have raised some loans, they may not have that same gearing status now any longer.
That's right.
Understand? So I want you to be alert for this one, because I see something in this software amortization thing, because I want you to be alert. It may be that, they have bought some new software in 1st of April, 2nd of April, and that is getting amortized. And for that, they would have spent a lot of money, not on the 31st March, but after the 1st April. So they don't have too much of money in their bank account. Maybe they are gone for a loan, and that loan now will come for repayment. And in that case, all our thinking that we have enough money for loan raising may not be there any longer.
Yeah, it may not be.
So be aware of that one. Now, some students argued saying, this can be maybe they have revalued the software, and because of the revaluation, excess amortization. But IS 38 does not permit intangible assets to be revalued.
Okay.
IS 16 permits tangible assets to be revalued. But intangible assets we can't revalue. We can test it for impairment. Right? We can test it for impairment. If there's impairment, that can be written off. So one person can argue it and say, this is the impairment of that software which was there, which they have to write it off. But if that is the case, it is not amortization, it is impairment.
Okay.
Right? It is impairment. So you can't call it amortization. So with a senior person like Fiona in the board as the finance director, very unlikely they can make a mistake like this in the management account. If at all, if they have made a mistake in the management account, that may be something which can come up in the pre-scene, in the unseen, asking you what should be the way to get over this one.
Yeah.
So I can see big things in this software amortization, big figures, and the 3 months figures that they have been given, particularly the engineering salaries coming down, particularly the cost of sales coming down. I see a lot of issues in this area, and I want you to look at those things in in a different way.
Okay.
Yeah. So there can be few shocks coming up in the exam. So we should be ready for those shocks in that event. We will know exactly where the thing is going. Then, so because if that is the case, which I'm assuming that they have put up 120 million, the company may be in somewhat liquidity crisis.
Okay.
Yeah. In that case, I don't think they can raise any more loans. In that case, the option may be for them to go public. This is how I see.
Yeah.
Right? They may have to go public very soon because they don't have too much of options because high gearing, right? And they will have to go for a kind of a listing, share issue, or maybe at least a private placement.
Yeah.
If they are not going for listing, they might want to raise some money because the gearing is so high, and they might want to go for some private placement, get some money. So there can be some kind of a dilution effect of your controlling. All those things you need to be worried, concerned, and discuss. So you might have to think of a strategy how to overcome a financial crisis. The company looks very solid, but with this kind of a thing, they may get into kind of a difficult situation.
Kumar, quick question.
Yeah.
You know the software.
Yeah.
You mentioned that they're amortizing it over 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's
but the minimum period should be 2 years.
Okay.
It has to be more than 1 year.
More than,
if it is less than 1 year, then you will not put it under non-current assets.
Right, okay.
Remember that normally when you put it under non-current assets, it's an asset that you are going to be in business for more than 1 year.
More than 1 year, okay.
So I'm thinking of 2-year period.
Okay.
It has to be more than 1 year. It can be 1.5 years, for example. But I'm just thinking 2 years. It can be even 3 years or 4 years.
Yes.
If you're going to make a big investment like that, it may be a fairly a longer period. It may be even 4 years. But what I'm saying is it will be a minimum of 2 years.
Okay. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. Right?
Okay.
So this case study is a very interesting one. There are so many things hidden in this case study which we can just overlook unless we look at some of these because most of us what we do is we do ratio analysis, but we don't look at these figures as it is, because looking at the figures as it is, I can see a lot of things in this case study. Because generally, even I saw Nick Best doing lot of ratios and all that kind of a thing. Ratios may not mean anything in this case study. If you look at the ratio, you might say, yeah, they are doing very well because the operating margin has gone up, this, that, and the other. But, and you can see if you really look at the profit now, because of the heavy amortization, you can see the operating profit for the first 3 months is 34.6 compared to, so 34 into 4, 1 quarter 34, it's average 136. Last year, it was 151 profit before tax.
Yes.
So you can see turnover dropping, you can see profit before tax dropping, you can see huge amortization, and the worst scenario is that you can see some problem in the engineering division which may have an impact not immediately but over the year on the revenue. So be ready. Some people have left and something like that happening is something that you may want to. So maybe one of the directors are leaving and there is a share valuation, something happening, and in that case, as I said last time, I think the best method to be used is the discounted cash flow method to value the shares. But that again, now we may have a problem if some of our people are left, whether we can take an accurate prediction of our revenues for the future. Because If some of our key people are left and formed up another competitive company, we may have to think in that angle also.
Yes.
So as I said, the dividend model is not a right model for a company like this because we are a private company and therefore dividend is erratic. The other thing is there are three types of companies in the world. One is what we call public listed company.
Company, yeah.
Right? That is one thing which we all of us know, public listed company. Then, so in a public, now this is definitely not a public listed company.
No.
Right? Because they are not given any share prices and they have only 4 shareholders at the beginning. Now there seem to be more shareholders, but surely no share price, so therefore it cannot be a public listed company. But it can be a public company which is not listed.
Yeah.
Public company which is not listed. Or it can be a private company. So what's the difference between a public company not listed and a private company? Public company not listed means we can, you say, if you are a director in this company or if you are a shareholder in this company, if you want to sell shares, you can sell to anybody when it's a public company. Right? You only think there is no market, you have to find your buyer, you decide your price, the buyer, so you, if you are a director of this company, you can sell those shares to me without taking any permission from anyone.
Okay.
You don't need any permission. So, but if it's a private company, you can't do that one. The articles of associations will say share transfers are restricted. You have to offer the shares and sell it to the board of directors or their nominee. That's the distinction. Right? So I can see in this case, I still think it's a private company because there are 4 key shareholders, but you never know. You never know. It can be still a public company also, unlisted. Because there are some outside shareholders. Even if it is a private company, they can become a public company. Right? By issuing shares to public, by changing the articles of association, they can become a public company, making it possible for the people to sell shares to anyone and everyone. You get the point?
Yeah.
If that happens, of course, there's always a danger. Anyone can become a shareholder. He can get the major shares, and there can be a lot of issues. The next step is to go listing. Which is a big step. It's a big step. And if we are going for that step, so they might ask you, what are your suggestions? So if it's a private company, first thing you can go public. Right? And invite few people, trusted people to be your shareholders, like venture capitalists, like private equity participant, that kind of a thing. Right? And then later on, you can think of going public listing, which is a major step. If it goes that tough one, you remember even though this is not a UK company, according to the UK model, we have to have the corporate governance, non-executive directors, separate chairman, separate CEO. So a huge process to be followed in that area. Statutory committees, all that. So you can, what I'm trying to say is you can quote all those things, you can discuss all those things, which is going to make your matters very interesting. So these are few things which I want to note down on this case. The next thing which I want you to look at is, you remember this company, from the day they formed, they are in one particular location.
State, yes.
Yeah, one particular location, that is where they are just now, and there may be a necessity for them to diversify, to go into the new markets. Consultancy is a very big business today. Tuition has become a big business today. All over internationally, you can do tuition. Similarly, consultancy also you can do all over the world, particularly energy. is something which is of a global interest, there can be room for you to move out from your Breezeland into the other area.
Yeah.
Now there when you go, you might have few problems, particularly about the foreign exchange.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that you might want to do all the time is, to mitigate the foreign exchange risk. One of the best
Yeah.
things you can do is to always invoice in your home currency.
Yeah.
That way, you can completely get rid of your foreign exchange
Foreign
risk.
exchange
You
risk. Yeah.
invoice in B dollars, so the other
Yeah.
party will have to bear it out.
We'll have to bear the risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not always it is possible because some client may say, I don't want your B dollars, tell me a figure in US dollars. In that case, the foreign exchange risk comes to you.
Yes.
Right? If that comes up, how to tackle that one? Now, you can think of many models like what you saw, money market hedging, futures, options,
Yeah.
all that. But what you have to understand, this company does not have too much of corporate treasury expertise. And this is what I call business skills. You must understand it does not have all the corporate treasury expertise. So don't try to recommend big things.
Okay.
Right? Unless they are thinking of going very big on foreign exchange, in that case, you might want to suggest to recruit a good corporate treasurer
Okay.
and set up a treasury
Yeah.
function because there will be a lot
Yeah.
of money coming in and there can be so
Yeah.
many things. But if they are just going to do
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 operations, foreign assignments, then don't try
Yeah.
to suggest this money market hedging and all that because they are not practical.
Yeah.
Right? One of the simple thing may be a forward rate agreement.
Yes.
Forward rate agreement. That's a very simple thing, not too much of a
Yeah.
complication. You don't need too much
No.
of corporate expertise to do
Expertise.
that kind of
No.
a thing. So what I'm trying to tell you is look at the context of the organization, and whenever we
Yeah.
are making recommendations, ensure that we make some practical recommendations that can be
Yeah.
implemented.
Yeah.
So these are few things which I gathered from this pre-scene reading last 1 or 2 days. So, but I encourage you to read it as much as possible. You might find
Okay.
something like what I saw hidden inside the figures, hidden inside the
Yeah.
pre-scene, which I need to, pull it, and get
Yeah.
it stronger, stronger, stronger. Right? So, uh, just before we wind up, I just want to look at you remember we were doing a particular mock.
Yes.
We were doing a particular mock. So you remember the first part of that mock was all about, you know, uh, this
Isabel.
Isabel wanting to leave the company
Yeah.
and something,
Yeah.
and Peter was very, very keen to take that Isabel's shares, and that was the
Yeah.
first part of it. So now I want to look at, did you have a look at the second part?
Yeah.
Right? Second part. So this was Monday that our Luke met you and all that, and this is on Wednesday. 2 days later, Wednesday morning, Luke walks into your office, and he was very appreciative of your views and suggestions on the issue of Isabella's impending resignation. So you have to
Yeah.
remember what you told Luke on
Look.
Monday. Now you can't forget it. If you are told that, let accept the resignation, let her go, whatever, you must maintain same consistency. Suddenly, Wednesday morning, you can't go somewhere else. Right? So, you remember we discussed that one because it was a very firm resignation. So, we were not
Yeah.
going to ask her to wait and that kind of a thing. But we were
That's
talking
right.
about this Peters, this thing, all that kind of a thing. So now here he comes in a very pensive mode. He said Joshua is not very keen with the idea of Peter buying the entirely of Isabel's hold. Now we did not see any major threat of Peter buying because even if Peter buys, it is still 38%. right?
Yeah.
So between us, we have 62% between the others. So being a
Yeah.
private company, Peter cannot do too much with the 38. But if it was a public listed company with 38, he can play real
A big,
havoc.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So he's not. So basically, Joshua says he's interested in buying, but he does not have money because he's already committed to the daughter's wedding. And Luke also does not have money because ideal situation would be Luke and Joshua to buy. Luke, Joshua, and Peter to buy equally so that they will maintain that same holding. But here we find Peter can't buy, Joshua can't buy because they already have their prior commitments. Peter is very interested to buy, but Joshua is not interested in that man. So you remember all these people are high power, high interest people in the Mendelow's matrix. So we have to be well aware of all their feelings, sensitivity, and handle it because they are all high power, high interest people. It's not dealing with a small man. It's Isabella is high power, high interest. Peter is high power, high interest. Joshua is high power, high interest. So what ways can we resolve this issue? Luke says he has had a one-to-one chat with Isabel. He says she needs money immediately, cannot wait too long. Luke is concerned that he will need substantial funds to settle terminal benefits of Isabel. So that's another area that we might have it. So remember, if already they are gone for a huge software investment, money may be a big problem even to settle because you don't seem to have a IAS 19 plan for these people. So Joshua has suggested to Luke that we will get Fiona to speak to the auditors to get shares valued at an exorbitant price. So Peter will give up the idea of buying shares and will make efforts of Isabel frustrated. What do you think? We need to be mindful.
That's not ethical.
Yeah, that's not ethical. So we have to say, according to SIMA Code of Ethics, right, trying to influence the auditors to give a valuation is not in line with integrity. Integrity, and it breaches the professional behavior.
Yeah.
So just quote like that. And just saying it is not ethical won't do it.
Okay.
Right. So you will say that one. We need to be mindful. We need to replace position 2, and I want your thoughts on this. So there are a couple of things but he's asking. One thing, how to get rid of this one. How to get rid of this Peter's and Joshua's problem. Right? Second thing is all about, Fiona something. Fiona going to the auditors and doing, which is, we know. And then the third one is about the replacement of Isabel's position. So as far as the first one is concerned, what I would recommend is to have a chat with, Luke to have a chat with Peter, not with Peter, I mean with Joshua, and explain that so long as we are together, we don't need to worry.
Yeah.
So Peter with 38% cannot do anything, but also you can suggest something like this. They can ask Peter to buy it immediately, but later on for Peter to offer one third of that shares what he bought, the two one third to Luke and one third to Joshua later on at a new valuation of shares. If he's genuine, he will agree.
Yeah.
If he's genuine, he will agree because he is having money today. He will buy it, but he will allow his two other colleagues to buy that share later on. That's a very practical, very business sense kind of a solution. We are not asking to give it at the 2017 price, 16 price. It may be in 2017 when Luke has money, when Joshua has money, right?
Yeah.
He will ask you to give it at 2018 prices.
Yeah.
Understand? So that's and if Peter is not thinking with ulterior motive, Peter will agree for it.
Yeah.
So you can suggest that one. But you have to dispel the fears of Joshua and tell
Joshua.
him, don't worry, this is not going to create a big issue because he's still 38%, but we must ensure that next bind, it will not go to him.
Mm.
If there's another person living and if he buys it, it's going to be trouble. So we may want to convince Joshua and also to have a one-to-one chat with Peter about this possibility of him transferring 2/1 later on to two of these people.
Yeah.
That way you can get rid of that problem. As far as the money is concerned for terminal benefit, it's Fiona's baby. Fiona will have to work out a cash flow and see how it can be done. Or maybe you can buy a little bit of time from Isabella if there is a need. But to work out a cash flow and to calculate it and to agree the figures and to see how it can be funded. Maybe one installment, maybe 2 or 3 installments. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. These are the practical things what you can do it. Then as far as surely it's not right to go to the auditors and to do it. So we have to say it's totally, we have to reject it because it's not ethical. According to SIMA Code of Ethics, we have to be truthful we have to be objective, and also we have to be professionally, we have to behave in a professional manner.
Professional manner. Yeah.
So it's not the auditor's job to do the share valuation also, right? It's not the auditor's job to do the share valuation. It will be a non-audit work if they do it, but surely we should never consent. Having said that one, now you can see the Joshua's attitude, right? He is thinking of, some unethical things, which is we have to cut it off from this point. So when you are thinking of strategic solutions, you're only not thinking of today's problem, you think of the long term. So from long term, I think it will be a good thing to avoid this kind of even some nasty suggestions coming up, to have a good code of ethics for your company. Good code of ethics for your company, in line with something similar to SIMA Code of Ethics. You can't introduce SIMA Code of Ethics, but in line with something similar to SIMA Code of Ethics, it's a good thing for you to come out with a Code of Ethics. You got the point? Yeah? So that's a long-term solution. And Luke should have a chat with Joshua and say that, we are a highly ethical company and that we should not go. But to avoid this kind of thing for the future, coming from anyone later on, we must draw up a code of ethics and introduce that one and regularly refresh it to the people so that people are fully aware of the ethical standards of the company. Otherwise, there's a big problem.
Yeah.
So, as far as the replacement of Isabel's position, as I said, I think what you will do is we will go to the people who have universities. First, ask Isabel whether she has any suggestion. Then interview along with the university professors. If not, go for the universities and advertise and get a good replacement very soon.
Oh, yeah.
And also, let's talk to Isabel and tell once she's settled down for her to come and to give a little bit of a induction, a training for her success. So those are the practical things what you can do. So again, you will see it's not too much of trying to do a lot of big things. It's a simply a thing of doing something in a positive way.
Yes.
So what I want is, I want you to pick up, today I think we got a lot from this pre-scene. So I want you to pick up a few things and try to imagine the kind of questions that can come up. I'm also working a lot on the mocks these days. So we will do more on this area. What I want is, I want you to do the third section of this mock by yourself.
Okay.
Right? Third section, I think it's about Isabel's decision and, something capital is coming up, all that kind of a thing. So talk about this one in your own answer.
Okay.
Right. How is your calendar next week?
To be honest, it's okay. In the mornings, I'm fine.
Yeah,
'Cause I
shall we
wake
make
up
it
early,
Monday
I
morning?
Okay.
Yeah, Monday morning I'm free. So we will make it Monday morning at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Right? So let's fix it for Monday, 8 at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, Marian, I'll see you on Monday at 6 o'clock.
Thank you,
Thank
Kumar.
you, Tikya.
Okay.
I have recorded. I'll send you the recording link.
Okay.
Thank
you.
you, Tikya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.